You're crazy.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Viall Files. I am your host, Nick. We have Rochelle.
Hi.
Sugar's back.
Hi. This is so exciting.
My little ladies in the room. We have a very exciting episode today. Hannah Brown is going to join us.
How exciting, and especially after this last episode, which as soon as it ended, I turned to you and I said, no show. I hate it when they do like a drop off in the middle.
No,
I have to wait to see what happens.
That's great. People love their consistency. It's a great conversation with Hannah. Just a heads up, we don't talk a lot about the show with Hannah. We talk a lot about Hannah with Hannah. I feel like we got to know Hannah.
Yeah, the beast got released.
She got really authentic and honest. I learned some things about Hannah that I don't know if a lot of people know.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, I haven't watched every interview that she's given, but
has your opinion on her changed?
No, I had a very high opinion of Hannah. I have it's been confirmed she's a really interesting person. She has great perspective. She's was authentic in this podcast, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Before we get to Hannah, because we don't talk a ton about this episode, I was right about Luke P. Shug. Can you finally just relent?
Admit it. You know, I still will say that I believe that Luke P can be saved still. I don't think he should be written off, and I think that we need to meet human beings with compassion and love. But Luke P disappointed me so much, man. You're not, you kick somebody in the head. How am I supposed to defend you?
I will say this. I did see something. He wrote some Instagram post.
I didn't like that, what he wrote. What did he write?
I honestly, listen, I don't have a high opinion and a very low expectations of Luke P. I thought what he didn't make excuses, and he just said, I sucked. It could have been, I mean, listen, I thought for a guy I had very low expectations, it was the best thing he could have said given the situation.
I guess. What did he say?
He basically was just like, I'm having a hard time watching Me Too. I'm learning through this experience. I need to be a better person, regardless if I'm with Hannah or not. I'm trying to be a better that's all he could have said. Yeah. Whether he means it or not, I don't know, but at least showed, well, what's wrong with that, Hannah? I mean, what's wrong with that, Rochelle?
I feel like if I was him, I would be like, oh my gosh, you guys, I'm mortified about how I'm acting. I didn't feel like he was that sad about it.
I mean, you're just reading it through a post. Who knows? I'm sure he's struggling with it. I think to Shug's point, Luke P, maybe this could be a great experience for Luke P in the sense that Luke P struggles with humility. Mm-hmm. He has some narcissism. He is a bit delusional and overconfident, and he's getting knocked down a few pegs. And maybe watching this, hopefully he resets.
You know what he looks like to me through this whole episode? Luke S. We'll call him Luke's. Luke's. He's like, you look at me. I can't even see what's behind your eyes or whatever. And I'm like, he looks terrified to me. Luke P looks like he's far down this road of being this bad person or whatever we want to call him. I think he looks confused and scared and like, oh no. And then he's lying. He looks like he's gone down this bad path and he is stuck on it.
Yeah, about his edit. He's scared about his edit right now. If
he's scared about his edit?
If you're seeing fear in his eyes, it's because he's realizing everyone hates him, and it is not going the way
it's gone off the rails.
But that was a dirty. There is no way to describe that play on the rugby field other than dirty. It was a dirty play.
I just hated the way he lied.
I know.
Oh my God, yes, he can't help himself. It's
really disappointed.
Listen, let's move on. He sucks.
Mm-hmm. Wait,
Rochelle and I were right. What does
note?
Natalie have to say? What is Natalie's notes?
Here we go. Natalie's notes. Of course, these are coming from my sister who lives in Canada and has 4 beautiful boys. So she's raising boys. So all of this, it's all very important for her. So about Luke P, she says, the heated passion that Hannah receives from Luke P is confusing for her because it feels so intense and so much bigger than other feelings. But for long-term love, it's more important to have slow and steady burn and to stay consistent. I totally agree.
Yeah, Luke is. Yeah.
I do. She says, I do think Luke P actually believes himself all the time, which is super sad to watch.
No, he's lying.
Oh, I agree with Natalie there. I think Luke, I think he's full of shit, but I don't think Luke P knows, like, I think he believes his own bullshit. He's a true believer.
Yeah.
Sociopath.
I love that. This is the definition of a sociopath.
Yes.
I did Google it, by the way. And if I'm being honest, I was like, I don't know. I'm reading this and maybe I'm a sociopath. I mean, like, well, that's the thing. Actually, the truth is, if you have any introspective of whether you're a sociopath or not, then you probably aren't. Anyone who dismisses the idea of them being a sociopath might be. It truly is because they don't have any self-awareness or empathy for themselves or others or whatever. But also, I could be.
Yeah.
It's possible.
It's possible. But I think it's,
I'm not totally out of the woods.
The jury's out. Jury's out.
Look at it. But Luke P.
Hey, can I give a little shout out to Big Mike? Hey, Big Mike.
Big Mike is great.
Thought you handled really well, Big Mike.
You got a crush on Big Mike, Shug?
I think just Big Mike
What a
handles
great
himself.
flex.
I just think we're seeing some man on there. You
What
know,
a
like,
great flex when Big Mike to Hannah just casually referred to Luke P as the boy. What a great flex. He seems like a really likable guy. He's
That
got
smile
morals.
with those teeth.
People like him. He seems to have a nice story. How do they not make him the first Black Bachelor?
and I can't
Male.
believe that you told me the other day.
Well, there's
right,
males.
Bachelorette.
Yeah.
Bachelor is male.
I'm aware.
bad.
I'm
My
aware.
bad.
I'm aware of Rachel.
You've heard of Rachel?
I have heard of her and her journey to find love. I'm somewhat familiar with that story. But yeah, I think, man, if he keeps going, how do they?
Well, I can't believe that you're telling me that there hasn't been anybody but a white bachelor, which is just, come on, guys.
You can't, Shug?
I mean, I can, but I'm disappointed to hear it. So yes, please.
Listen, in fairness
Jump
to the
on
show,
board.
is like they have to, like, the thing. If Mike goes home next week, I don't think he will. It'd be really hard for ABC to make him.
Look, what about Hunter? Hunter is gorgeous, and we saw him for one.
Who
He's
is
not
Hunter?
talking. I don't know.
That's kind of my point. Hannah has no relationship with Hunter. This is a show, and like part of that that plays a role.
Yeah.
Right. It's the way their format is to bring some of the storyline is, and so the show has done a better job, and that doesn't mean they aren't at fault at all, but they have done a better job to make it more possible to find your Big Mikes of the world or Rachel, and things like that.
I'm just curious, does it happen in the show that, like, kind of later in the season, that somebody that you were like, who is that guy? Where did he come from?
Every season.
Oh, really?
Someone goes home like week 6. That's like 6 episodes in, and they go home. You're like, I have no idea who this is.
Man.
Is Hunter still even on the show? Hunter's not on the show.
No.
anymore.
What did you think of Jed being like, I came on here for my music, and now I'm here for you?
It sounded like a truth bomb that was meaningless. And listen, I'm glad he said it. He had to say it, but he's no different than anyone else. It's honest. What it is that we've talked about this. People go on the show for the experience. A little like Jed's unique because he is an aspiring musician, and so he got ahead of it, right? He has the potential of someone accusing him naturally because he lives in Nashville and he's trying to be a recording artist. So he just told Hannah the obvious truth. Good for him for saying it, but it was kind of like, yeah, of course. I didn't fault him for it because he was honest. I'm glad he said it because other people would try to pretend that's not a reality. And so good on him for saying that. But I don't think it's some huge revelation. But other people in that position would just pretend that's not existent and that's not believable. So good for him for being authentic.
Honest. And Rochelle, how did your boy Tyler C do?
Don't you think he really just
honey, he did
shone
so
on this
great.
episode?
He really did.
He came through for us.
I said to Nick, I turned to Nick and I said, you know what? He feels like a man. Like he feels so steady to me. And I'm like,
He was in a great position to flourish. I mean,
Yeah.
Hannah's upset with Luke P. Other guys might not have done as well, but he's clearly a confident guy. He's sure of himself. He was the perfect guy for that date. It was.
I felt like I was watching The Notebook.
Oh God.
I did.
You are not objective.
I am.
you are madly in love with him.
I'm not in love.
Well,
Listen, I know you're not objective because you're very opinionated on a lot of dating things. And last week when Tyler was fine, but it wasn't his best week of just being totally like.
I like a man who shows off his body a little bit.
I like that you like that, but like that's not usually the Rochelle I hear. So it tells me you are not objective with Tyler, which is fine, but you're not. That's not criticism. That's just a fact. I like this side of you. I like that there is that person who's like, fuck it, I don't care. I just want to fuck him.
I didn't say that, Mom.
I think that's great. Well, like I said, I think that kind of wraps up what we think about this episode. Tune in. Hannah has a lot of interesting things to say. I hope you guys enjoy this Hannah time. I know we did.
Oh, we sure did. I just love her.
We were in love, fully in love.
Yeah, especially now having met her. She is so consistent and it's so real.
Like an onion.
Yeah, we're just peeling it back. So up next, the peeling back
Oh, God.
of Hannah B.
Oh,
Hannah Brown.
Hannah Brown, as she said.
She wants to be Hannah Brown.
Mm-hmm.
The story of Hannah Brown.
Story of Hannah Brown. Coming up next.
Time for Nick to sell you things you really need, but you don't own yet.
That's right. Things you don't have, but you need.
Yep.
Our first one, ShipStation.
New one, ShipStation.
Well, it's not new to me because I actually use ShipStation every day. I use it with Natural Habits.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Natural Habits, a lot of our sales comes with our website, our e-commerce. And so we also sell on Amazon. And so we're selling our oils on different platforms. ShipStation allows you to ship with all major carriers like USPS, the Postal Service.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know what USPS is. Oh, God. I say that because when I first heard it, I'm like, what's USPS? This is new? And I'm like, no, it's the post office. Like, oh, cool. FedEx, UPS, all of them. And so it helps you track your orders. You get, it helps you, it tracks everything. It's the cheapest way to ship things. It really has saved Natural Habits, my company, on all our shipping costs. It's very convenient. If you have any type of online business or you're selling things online through eBay as well.
Or Etsy.
It is the easiest way to ship all your stuff anywhere you need and save on postage and efficiency. And it's a great way of tracking it. You get analytics and everything. It's awesome. Fantastic. So
if you're getting your oils quickly, that's thanks to ShipStation.
Thank you, ShipStation, for helping Natural Habits have great customer service. And naturals.com. No, I love it. I mean, it's really, we talk about things that make our life easier.
Yep.
So
totally.
Oh, we appreciate ShipStation being a partner because it's again, all the major 500 companies use it too. Natural Habits,
the number one online.
Yeah, Natural Habits. We're not part of the major Fortune 500 yet.
Big dreams.
We're a small business, but even if you are an individual person selling things, you can use ShipStation. If you're hard to say, but easy to use.
This word is the bane.
ShipStation. Hard to say, easy to use. Hard to say for me, but maybe not for most people. Anyways, right now, the Viall Files listeners can try ShipStation free.
Wow.
Free for 60 days when you use promo code Viall, VIALL. Absolutely risk-free. No risk. You can start your free trial, and this is the best part.
What? Oh,
even without entering your credit card information.
Yeah.
That is truly free. Most people say free trial. You put your credit card information. If you're anything like me, you forget that. And you're paying for something for 4 years. You don't even remember. You can't remember your login or user ID. You don't know. You've seen your credit card bill. It's just like you've been charged $19.95 for something vague you don't even recognize and remember. Not with ShipStation. You can try it totally risk-free. That's truly risk-free. So anything, if you're selling anything, if you need to ship it, ShipStation, just use ShipStation.com. Click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and type in VIALL. That's ShipStation.com. Then enter promo code Viall, VIALL. ShipStation.com. Make ship happen. See, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, make ship happen, baby.
They know what they're doing. Hard to say. Easy to use. I made that up. I don't know if ShipStation is going to be okay with it, but if they are, I think maybe
what?
I would be flattered if they use that in their ads going forward.
So Simple Contacts is our sponsor, and I'm obsessed with Simple Contacts.
Why?
You wouldn't know that because I'm wearing glasses, but it's because it's so hard to get contacts. It's so annoying. I don't want to go to the...
I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable.
No, don't do this again.
But I've seen you without glasses.
Okay.
And damn.
Okay, all right.
So I think you should get your Simple Contacts going.
I did. I ordered them, and it's super easy to order. It's like too easy. So I guess now you're going to start seeing me.
No excuses. Well, again, we talk about convenience on the show. Simple Contacts. I'm fortunate that I don't have to have that burden, but
You don't wear contacts?
I don't. I have
Damn you.
perfect eyes.
Okay.
A lot of people in my family do struggle with it though, and like I have friends, and like it's something I definitely take for granted. Like not being able to see without any help.
Yeah, you're like,
I can't
just
imagine.
stop wearing your glasses, Rochelle. I'm like, I need to see.
First of all, I've never said that to you.
Kind of.
No, that is not remotely the case. I just simply said,
Okay.
wow, you look great.
Okay.
Simple Contacts. The contact lens prices are unbeatable.
Yep.
Well, that's great. And Rochelle, you can confirm all this.
Yes.
Yeah. The vision test is only $20 and shipping is free.
So you don't even have to go get a vision test at a doctor. You just do it on the website.
That sounds amazing.
It is.
Best of all, my listeners get $20 off their first Simple Contacts order with promo code Viall20. Try it for yourself and save $20 on your lenses by going to simplecontacts.com/VIALL20 or entering the code Viall20 at checkout. I want to mention that this isn't a replacement for your periodic full eye health exam.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not.
Mm-mm.
You still need those occasionally.
Yeah, occasionally.
Occasionally. But it is the most convenient way to renew a prescription and reorder your contacts if your vision hasn't changed. Don't just take it from me. Well,
take it from me.
Take it from Rochelle. Definitely don't take it from me. Simple Contacts has been rated 5 stars over 5,000 times on the App Store. That's pretty impressive. Actually, that really is. Have we even rated 5 stars on iTunes?
We're at 4.5.
We are, but we do have over 5,000.
We do. We have a lot of reviews.
5 stars. But we could always, this is not about us. This is about Simple Contacts. Again, get $20 off simplecontacts.com/Viall, VIALL20, or just enter code Viall20 at checkout. Save time, save money, and save yourself a headache with Simple Contacts.
Mm-hmm.
Now go buy the stuff.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to a very special edition of the Viall Files. So special because we have the current Bachelorette with us, Miss Hannah Brown.
Oh, so
hello.
Yay.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking the time, Hannah. I know that you are so busy and exhausted with life right now because that's what being the Bachelorette is in the moment. So thanks for taking the time.
I'm glad to be here. Let's have a good time.
Let's have a great time.
Let's
just get into it. I think the people, you've probably done a ton of press.
I've done a little bit.
And you've been probably asked a lot of the same questions. I'm not really interested in if you found love. I hope you did, but we're not going to ask that question because you're not allowed to answer it.
Love that.
It's really, the people like in the interviews, like they try to like find a clever way to do it. So are you happy? Are you?
Yeah, because every time I'm just like, yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah. Anyways.
Cool. It's a great day.
I'm going to start off by saying, I'm going to pay you a compliment. You are in the running, to me, as one of the best bachelorettes of all time. Now, with a bit of a disclaimer here,
Okay.
I only started watching when I first went on Desiree's. Well, I went on Andy's season, so I started watching Desiree's season. Andy and Caitlin broke up with me, so they're like excluded. I also dated Rachel. She's pretty cool. JoJo was great. Desiree was fine. I didn't see any of the other ones, but so far you're killing it.
Okay, so that leaves like two
Yeah.
of us.
Why do you have to
Cool.
do that?
Three?
I'm just kidding. No, you
Compliment.
really are doing a great job. You're really doing a
Could
great
have just
job.
stopped it at the first thing you said.
You're doing a great job. The reason why I think you're in the running is because I don't know if other people notice this about you, but you have a very authentic way of how I would describe. You think out loud, and it's wonderful, and it's very authentic. And I think that's my favorite thing about you as the Bachelorette is that everything you say, you can how some people are like, some of the guys on the season, like maybe say Luke P. Like he thinks and then he says something and you can tell on his face he's saying what, in my opinion, what he thinks people want to hear. And then when you are thinking and your mouth is going at the same time, and I know it's an authentic thought, and that's my favorite thing about you.
Thank you, because that's 100% true. I am a verbal processor.
So good.
So that is how I process everything, and I have to like talk it out. Like interviews for me were like huge for me to sit in those and like talk out my emotions. Like I have to do that, but I also just do that in life. I can't help but like say everything I'm feeling. Sometimes good, sometimes not so good, but good TV. So
have you always been that way?
I don't think, I think naturally, yeah.
Yeah.
And like, it's the way that I process my emotions, but I think I learned that you sometimes don't need to do that. However,
well, that was my next question. Like, has it served you well, but also gotten you in trouble before even say TV?
Yeah, absolutely. Because sometimes, like when you're processing things, you're saying things that you really don't mean. Sometimes.
Do you think that?
I mean, you mean them, but they might not come out the way that you want them to come out.
You may not articulate it the best way that you hope.
It's everything that I'm actually thinking, meaning I'm not articulating it for like people that are not inside my brain to actually understand what I'm saying.
Does that mean do you really think that you don't mean that? Or like you said, articulate because they may not love what you said at first and you want to soften it up maybe a little bit for them?
I just have this mental image in my head right now of my brain, and I'm in my brain, and I know exactly what's happening inside my brain. This is great.
She's thinking out loud right now. It's amazing.
Yeah. But so I'll just say a comment that is or a sentence that's actually inside that sentence is 5 different thoughts that I've put together that I know they all make sense for that one sentence, but nobody else is living inside my brain. And so they just hear the one sentence and like, wait, do you mean that? I'm like, yeah, I do, because of those 5 sentences that I actually didn't say out loud that I thought in my brain.
Do you also say those?
Probably no.
It does. It does.
It totally does. But do you also then say those? Because I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I feel like you kind of say everything that
I do. So somebody said, what? And I'm like, yeah, but this is why. Right? Okay.
But you like that about yourself, yes?
I have grown to like appreciate that about myself.
Oh,
that's what makes me unique in myself. And I feel like I've found like who I am, and I just have to like own that sometimes my thoughts are scattered and I say all those thoughts, therefore I talk scattery, because that's just who I am. But that's what like is I would say that would be the endearing quality that I have. It's just like that is how I just have to be myself. It's just say everything. Do you feel like maybe when you were younger you were judged for being did you ever feel misunderstood? I will say, like, as a kid, I was like the like golden child. So I knew how to like stay in a row and do everything, like to be teacher's pet, to like help my mom out and just charm people. And so when you're doing that all the time, then are you really saying everything you mean?
Probably not.
Probably not. You're showing a version of yourself. And so I liked that. The recognition I got for being the golden child and for, oh, isn't she so sweet? Blah, 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 blah. And so I kind of like that was my gig. And it wasn't that it wasn't me. It was me. It was just the small part of me that people accepted.
When did that change? Like, when did you start becoming more the Hannah we're getting to know now?
I'm trying to think of like, there's like been a few like defining moments, I feel like, but I feel like ultimately I like suffered with anxiety and depression in college, and I think it was because the gig was up, you know?
What do you mean?
Like the gig of like being this.
Yeah.
It just like I couldn't keep up with it anymore. And then, you know, in my hometown, I could be the homecoming queen, the this, the that. But then when you get to college, well, there's like I don't know, like 50 homecoming queens in one of your classes. So like you're not that great. You know, and so if that's where you get your worth from, then you realize that like, oh wait, I'm if that's where the word's from, it's like, oh wait, then I'm not as special as I thought I was. And so I was suffering with all this for a while, but I smile just that's just how my face is planted. Nobody knew anything, and I wasn't going to say anything because, oh my God, I don't want to be a bother, God. And so it was me, like, I went to the doctor one day and he was like, are you happy? And I just said no. It was the first time somebody asked me if I was actually happy. And I just like lost it. And I think it was like after that of like, okay, you're not, where do you find your happiness and who are you? And that's like what started my transition. I was in relationships that I feel like from that, like me actually being able to seek help, become Hannah again. I remember like the first day that I felt like, oh my God, this is amazing. I feel like myself again.
And like, what was that moment? Was that like you just kind of said how you felt?
I think it was like accepting that like it's okay to like that I was sad and it's okay to be sad for like no reason because it was something that I was struggling with. Because I think I always thought I had to have a reason. I was like, my life is so great compared to other people's, Everybody has struggles, but I was like, why do I come out and allow myself to be sad? Well, it's because I was struggling with something. And so I think it was really just like allowing myself to be like, it's okay to feel this way, but don't let it like don't just sit in that and like get up, go take a walk, go do this, go hang out with friends. And I don't know, just kind of like owning it and accepting it and then like growing from it and doing things to like really discover.
Yeah. I think
through like being vulnerable about like, I am struggling with this.
I think that's great. I mean, I've always said like you shouldn't never have to justify your feelings. Mm-hmm. What you do with those feelings and how you process them, you have control over, but like you never have to explain how you feel.
Yeah.
It's how you feel. Doesn't matter whether someone feels that you have the right to.
Yeah.
Like, that's who you are.
But for so long, I wouldn't say it. So I was just like internally like going into a ball, but still trying to be like, hi guys, what's up?
Is Hannah Beast post this process?
Oh my gosh. Yes. I would say, so I say that pageants are good. We're good and great for me. I mean, good, not good and great. That's great. And
they can be both, right?
They could be both, but like a good thing and a bad thing for me. I feel like with pageants sometimes, especially before I ever won, that was like my moment to play the gig, the best way. And it never worked out. It worked out for like me as a teen, but I think that was before I really started like pretending to be somebody I wasn't. And so it worked well, like when I did it in like 15, 16, 17, like that time. And then as I got older, like I was just listening to everybody telling me what to do, everything. And then I stopped doing it. And then it came back a year and won. And I won because I was like completely myself. And I signed up 2 weeks before and just was like, whatever, I'm going to do it.
No way. 2
weeks? 2 weeks before Miss Alabama USA. And then I'm getting to somewhere in this. I competed in Miss USA.
This is all tracking. It's a beautiful story.
I competed in Miss USA and they let me be I loved my directors and people that helped me. They let me be my own. But for me, I still struggled with being the perfect person. And now I'm at this, like the biggest thing. So like I was still falling into a few traps along the way.
Yeah.
And so like, I feel like I did kind of fall into those better, like could have never done it before. Like I did, like I was still Hannah, but still falling into some traps because it's really hard not to. And I think the same thing with Bachelor. When I got there, I kind of fell back into my little trap for a second.
Date with Colton.
Yeah, I was like, who do I be? Oh wait, I have to go on. I have to spend a whole day with you after I've only been here for 2 days. Great. Who am I going to be? Myself or somebody else?
You actually had that thought?
Absolutely.
Really?
I didn't know, not like somebody else, but like, am I going to like turn it on, or am I just going to be like, this is me. I'm this weirdo. That
very honest with you.
And yeah, and so what I say, like I had to like write this out in my journal because it was so devastating for me to like have that like moment that was it was the most awkward date ever. But what happened is it was the middle of this, me trying to continue on the track that I was going on of like really leaning into who I am as a person, but also like meeting this guy, not knowing how much of that person, of who I truly am, I want to give him. And so what you got was the middle of like just paralyzed. Yeah. You know, like I don't know who I want to be right now and what I want to show him. And the like millions of people that watch this.
Oh my goodness.
Do you think as you've gotten older, you've been, and I think kind of this is where this is going, but as you've gotten more confident in who you are, you're less worried about who you show the real you to because you're just going to be who you are? I think.
Yeah. And I feel like I don't have to like, I feel like for so long, it was like, I am a good person. Like I need to do the things to show like my heart. And it's like, Hannah, yeah, you are a good person. Just be yourself. And like, if people have something to say, they're going to have something to say regardless. So why try to just like walk this straight, narrow path that like isn't even fun anyway?
I mean, it's very honest for you to say. I appreciate you sharing that because I think a lot of people listening, I mean, it's a very relatable feeling. You're not the only one, obviously. I think when you're younger, you know, you are trying to fit in, some people a bit more than others. And I mean, the beauty pageant world I'm not familiar with, but I can imagine it's very stay in your lane. So I think it's very honest.
Well, it's like, be yourself, but this,
but be polished and be like, don't like be a lady, you know, like be a Southern gentleman if you're a guy, I guess. I don't know. But no, it's very, very honest of you. Rochelle, did you get your dad Father's Day gift?
I did not.
I have.
You did already?
I have. Well, I got him a few. I also got him some essential oils. But no, I'm really excited about this gift I got my dad. It's Storyworth.
Oh, one of our sponsors.
One of our sponsors. But I really think, spoiler alert, sorry, Dad. He doesn't listen to all these podcasts.
Oh, no.
It's okay. He's got stuff to do. But Storyworth was founded by a guy whose dad told a bunch of stories, and he loved that. Everyone's got that storyteller in their family. Usually there's a few, a brother, sister, aunt, uncle. And when my family gets together, I live in LA. When I go home, we always like to reminisce about family time, things we did as kids. And we still like hearing our parents' like childhood stories. Even when my uncles come over, there's always like a new nugget from their childhood that we like to hear.
Love those nuggets.
It's always good to have nuggets. And so I heard about this Storyworth, and it's basically a way to kind of preserve these stories and record them and then have them put in like a book to like go back and reminisce. Aww. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to give it to my dad, and like he can start recording some stories that he's shared with us in the past, and maybe we can all add to it. And then 5 and 10 years from now, when we're having a Thanksgiving or Christmas Day, we can kind of look back and, you know, actually like read these stories that we've shared, both things in the past or in things in the future. And I think it was fantastic.
That's awesome. So it says each week they send them an email with a question about their life, and all they have to do is respond to the email, and then they put it in a hardcover book. It gives you like prompts
to help. It kind of gives you things like on a podcast, you ask some interesting questions, and the ball starts rolling. You're telling the story, and then, but that's what's kind of fun about going home when you get older. You have a few beers, a glass of wine, and you like reminisce about things that happened in your life and some experiences. My dad would always tell this story. And I hope that he shares this with Storyworth and the Storyworth kind of album about when he was a kid. My grandma Phyllis and my grandpa.
Oh, you
David,
love your grandma Phyllis.
I do. They went on a cruise together, and they were so bad that they had to come home early from the cruise because they convinced my Aunt Sarah that she was adopted.
What?
Yeah. No, truly.
How do you come home from a cruise early?
Because the babysitter, like, I guess there was so much. That was like they were doing a lot of things, but like part of it was convincing my Aunt Sarah that she was adopted.
Oh, no.
Convinced her. And they were so bad at that. And like as a kid, I've always loved hearing that story. Yeah. And again, I remember it, but I paraphrased it. I wanted my dad to tell this story so that I can, in detail, it's a great story. I always like hearing it. And so Storyworth allows kind of family members to do that and preserve these stories. So
I'm going to get Storyworth for my dad now. You convinced me.
Anyways, I think my dad's going to love it. For $20 off, visit storyworth.com/Viall, Viall, when you subscribe. Again, for $20 off, visit Storyworth, STORYWORTH/V as in Victor, IALL, to subscribe. Get your story on. If you had met all the guys at a bar one night instead of at the mansion on a night one, Luke P's the guy you're going home with that you were going to be in a relationship with. Maybe you won't hook up that night, you're a lady, whatever. Yeah. But that's going to be your guy, right? And I think that was really fascinating because, you know, The Bachelor's a very unrealistic situation in terms of how you date people. You know, it's not, you get the first impression, but then like you're forced to get to know other people, even if your instincts wouldn't necessarily be able to do that. In the real world, you just meet someone and you're like, whatever. But Luke P is, so far as we've seen the show, we're kind of at this crossroad. And to hear you kind of like talk about how you're confused because, he has these red flags. Has this happened to you in other relationships where it's just, I think we can all relate. We like the person, but it's just like, we know we shouldn't, or our friends and our family don't, but like you just want it. It's just that the tasty, as you say, dessert.
Yeah.
Is this a thing that you've had? I mean, I've done it more than a few times in my life. I know I've definitely chased the wrong person.
Yeah.
Is this a habit you've kind of had in the past, or is it new to you?
I'm trying to think of how, because I definitely feel like I can answer this in multiple ways of
we don't have to talk
interest.
about Luke P.
Yeah, no.
Make it easy.
I definitely have. This is what I do. If I think I see like a light in somebody that's like not, and I'm like, oh, but like, I think they're actually a good person. Like somewhere in there's some goodness. So I'm going to be the one that helps. And I sometimes will like, I don't ignore anything because I say it out loud.
Sure.
But will be like, okay, but not even I don't even make excuses. I just am like, no, I think this person's a good person. I'm going to make this person a good person. And you can't. So
which one is it?
With what?
You know they're a good person, or are you going to make them a good person?
I don't. Okay. So like I've had relationships in the past where like I've like felt like there's something in their heart that's good, and they did me so shitty.
First, you kind of want them first. I'm saying like, first you have the hots for him, right? Like Luke P, you have the hots for. He's a hottie.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was dessert. We wanted to get some dessert.
Well, and I think,
but after that, then you get to know him, and it's like, ugh. But then you get to that crossroad.
Because I still like, okay, I'll say my relationship with Luke P, especially like at the beginning, like the instant connection reminded me a lot of my really long-term relationship.
Oh.
And so it was like this initial like attraction of like cuckoo gaga eyes. And I know that like through like what we've seen, like I really held on to that. Like I hadn't had a connection like that in a really long time. And when it had for me, it was like
it's palpable.
Yeah, it was huge. And it was huge. And he is something like he is a spark of something that I can see. Like he's like the brightest light out there. And I don't know if the light is like a like do not come here caution light or like the beacon, like that is what, but he is the brightest thing that like is like attracting me right now. Does that make sense?
Totally makes sense. And we've all been there, even again, and in life that happens to all of us. I mean, do you think of yourself as someone who, when you fall hard?
I fall hard, but like, yes, I do. But I don't, I don't know.
Well, I want to say, like, it seems you were so aware of yourself. And, even with the Lukey P example, you stopped him in his tracks and said, something's going wrong here. I'm not feeling quite right. My feelings are feeling odd. I feel, like something uncomfortable is happening. So you could have been a person who was just blinded to any of the red flags, but you're not. Like, so I think that you, from my analysis, it seems like you really assess what you're going through and you ask yourself how you're feeling and you really look at it. And so I wonder if you would just kind of blindly fall hard. I doubt it.
I don't think, I fall hard when like, I do fall hard, but I'm not like unaware when I fall. Like I will try whatever to make it work, but not make it like, not disregard things that happen. I want to still talk about them, but I'm like, did you mean that? And I think a lot of times in this, not just with Luke, but with a lot of the guys, I try to give them the benefit of the doubt of like the weird that we're in. Like, this is so hard. I'm like, hey, you're kind of coming off like this. Do you want to come off like this? Because this is what you're actually doing.
Yeah.
So like, no. You think, you think that's what's happening. It's not. You actually are looking kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So are you crazy or not? I'm going to let you have another chance to see if you're actually crazy.
I just think that's so loving of you and very patient and you know, it's a way to pass your own wisdom. I just think, you know, that's the womanly way and you're doing that. Yeah.
I don't think also falling hard or fast is a bad thing per se. You can they're not mutually exclusive. You can fall hard and still be objective. You can, you know.
This is what I do. I
right?
like
you don't
free
think
fall.
so?
It's like I do the skydiving thing. I like be like, whoa, this is amazing. What? Oh, parachute back. I don't really know. And so that's me like coming back and being like, when the strings open, I'm like, wait, this is me assessing from up here.
I love that.
Am I actually going to continue to float down, or I'm going to be like, somebody better come save me right now?
Have you ever had your heart broken before the show?
Oh yeah,
you have,
for sure. The guy that I dated for oh my gosh, this is some shit.
That's how we do it here. I have too, if that makes
really
it better, more than a few times.
Yeah, I would say like I've had like one huge like big heartbreak. But there was this guy that I dated in high school that I was in 9th grade when I first saw him, and his name got called in my Spanish class, and I came home and I told my mom, I'm going to marry that guy. Oh. And so, like, I just...
9th grade?
Yeah, 9th grade. But
What'd your mom say?
She was like, okay. All right. He's like, he has big ears. I said, I don't care.
Oh wow,
yeah.
Mom.
Yeah.
Savage.
So, he does have big ears. But I didn't... He had a girlfriend, so she didn't really like me. Whatever. So we didn't talk like through high school until that was the one class we had together. And then my senior year, we ended up having another class together. And him and the girlfriend were on and off. They ended up breaking up. We started dating. And it was like...
You just swooped on in.
He swooped on in.
Oh.
Okay.
She was just an innocent bystander.
I was just here, and my 9th grade self knew. But he really played me a lot, like in the first part of that relationship, and like when I fell in love with him like immediately, and that's a lot of like being a teenager. But he like truly like broke my heart as like a young girl, and then we ended up getting back together. Which now that I look back, I mean, I wouldn't regret anything, but like. This girl would have never got back together after that.
Sure. We've all done that.
And we ended up dating after that for like 3 years and into college. And I mean, I thought he was my one. And he did a lot of shitty things throughout all that. Like really did, but became a better, like he was progressing. And like by the end of it, like he will even say now, like you saved me through college. Like I don't know where I would have been, but like I didn't, okay, congrats, Hannah, but like I didn't deserve that. But I was so in love with him and like wanted to do whatever to make it work. And the human that he is now is great. What I had to deal with to get to the human that he is now, not cool. And then I ended up breaking up with him after all the depression stuff and like actually coming into my own. And I realized like, this is not it. Like I love him. I don't love where our relationship is. So I broke up with him, and it was the hardest thing because it wasn't because I didn't love him. It was that like I knew where we were at was not where I wanted to go. And I was dragging him somewhere. Like I always say this, but it's like I was going 100 miles per hour and he was stuck at 25, and I was just like dragging him. And you can't do that to somebody if they're not ready to be there. Broke up with him. And then I ended up started dating this other guy who I did love so much. Like just, it never got over Brandon because we started dating like 3 months after.
The hardest, man.
Yeah,
it's a motherfucker.
And this guy was ready to get engaged. Whatever. The week before we were supposed to go look at engagement rings, I got in a innocent conversation with the last boyfriend.
First guy.
Just told him everything about it. He was like, "You're still in love with him. I can't do this anymore." And broke up with me, which we had when he started dating me, wanted to date me. I said, I'm still in love with somebody else. He was like, I don't care. I want to pursue you. Well, so it was like already like from the beginning, but then I loved 2 people, but I loved 2 people at the same time and wasn't over another. Went to the guy, back to the first boyfriend. And I said, I still love you. And like, I don't know what to do. He like played me for like 2 days and then ended up was like dating somebody.
Question.
And it wrecked my soul because I went back to him And a guy wanted to like marry me. And I was like, I'm dropping this because I still have feelings for you. He wrecked me. Wrecked me.
Question for you. And you can take a moment to answer this. If you could forget about all of that, like have the power to not remember any of it, would you, or would you keep those memories in terms of like what you felt or the embarrassment and the heartbreak?
No, I would totally keep the memories because like I have wisdom now, and there's a lot of good in that. There was a lot of good about the relationship, and the bad helped me a lot for this experience.
I think hearing your story is a big reason. Now it makes more sense why you're in the running for Best Bachelorette of all time.
Yeah, I truly like my relationship with the first guy was so passionate and like work however I could to make it work, but just like, God, this guy, like, why won't he be what I want him to be? And like trying, but being so in love. And then this other guy checked off every single box, but I wasn't ready yet. And he wasn't the right guy. There were still things. But I was getting there. And I feel like I'm so thankful for both of them. And I will still say that, like, no matter what I've said that might make, they're both great humans. We just grew up together. Yeah. We were all growing. And I'm so thankful for both of those relationships because I feel like everything that I learned through those and the heartbreak and the like truly like loving, like I know what love is. Like I knew what love is before being on the show, like what that felt like, and yearned to have it again. And had a year and a half to be like by myself. And when I say by myself, I didn't date. I like focused on Hannah after that breakup.
This is great.
And so like I missed that and wanted that. And that's why I wanted this to work for me. But then I also could see like why it didn't work in the past through some of the like dating that
but those are all great things. I mean, I always say like, especially early on, if in the dating world, there's always a balance of trying to figure out what we want and what we deserve, because they're not always the same thing. And usually we want to have a balance of, because we want to be with someone, but we also know things that we deserve. And sometimes early in life, we will concede what we deserve for the things that we want, which is often sometimes why we chase the wrong people.
But you learn.
And if you can then grow up and have some foresight and some balance and know when to check yourself, you can hopefully make.
And I still like, I've struggled with that because you want the freaking chocolate cake every single meal.
Chocolate cake is so good.
But you really need the salad that has the avocados and the chicken and all the tomatoes that you can eat for every meal.
Yeah. This is why we're like mine. She probably doesn't even know my Sour Patch Kid metaphor. And she's like, it's the same thing. It's great.
What's your Sour Patch Kid metaphor?
Well, I was giving dating advice to some sister of someone I was dating, and she was she was working with this guy, and it was the same thing. Like she'd be hanging out with this guy for a year, and she's just like venting to me at a party. She's, they were hooking up at this and that, but he never committed. And I'm like, you know what he is? The dude's a Sour Patch Kid. She's like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, it's the same thing. Like every time you eat a Sour Patch Kids or chocolate cake or whatever it is your thing, it's like, you'll have it, it's delicious, but then you'll have too much of it, and then you won't feel that great afterwards. But then you're like, you know what? I shouldn't eat that. I shouldn't. And then fast forward 2 weeks, like you're hungry, you go to the movies, and you're just right there. You're like, fuck it, like instant gratification, and you just keep doing it over and over and over. And it's like you just, but you can't have a healthy, sustainable diet on chocolate cake or Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah, need the salad. With all the things.
What an exciting time in your life, because I feel like from all of these stories, like you actually are in that good place to find your love and to get married and like to do the whole thing because you love you so much, which is so wonderful.
Yeah, I think so too. And I've heard a lot of people like, be like, oh my God, you're the youngest. I was like, I'm the youngest Bachelorette. Yeah, I am.
Killing it.
But like, I know that, all my life experiences and where I am and where I am with myself, like I'm able to make that next step. And because of like the love that I've had in the past.
That makes a lot of sense. And then I think your dating history has definitely plays a big role.
I want to know what happened, what changed, because you said you were like halfway authentic in the first Bachelor.
Oh, because of that date?
You were just saying that. Yeah. Like what changed between that and your season?
Okay. So when I talk about,
You mean her season as the Bachelorette, or?
Yeah. So
I felt like that would happen throughout Colton's season.
My season with Colton, I feel like is when I really like, from the first date, like by the end of the date, it was like, all right, this is me. And I feel like my whole like growth in that was accepting who I am and like being my true self and being okay with being my true self. I feel like as the Bachelorette, my journey has been owning that I've always been a strong woman, but owning that and showcasing that, and not just feeling like my faith is really important to me. And I read this thing before I left that it was like, a lot of times people think that like a good Christian woman is to be like submissive and just serving. Well, serving can be a total different ways. And like I'm serving my strength to people. Like I don't just have to like be in the corner, like doing like my thing, just standing in the corner and being that type of girl. No, like that's not at all how it ever is even biblically like it is. It's just like people think that's how you're supposed to be. And so I've been like, you know what? I can still be the person I am, the beliefs that I have, and be a badass. So I feel like that's like what you see throughout this season.
Well, Hannah, I just want to say that I've also had sex, and I'm pretty sure Jesus
He does. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I have. I'm pretty sure he still does. I'm pretty sure.
I can tell you he does.
That I want. I can't wait to find out what that's about. But you know.
Oh, you're gonna love it.
I can't wait. But that made me. I was funny because obviously I know faith is important to you. You've talked about that. You know, we've talked about a little bit on this show in terms of like our upbringings and stuff. You kind of spoke to it a little bit, but I was curious, is there anything else in terms of say how old are you now? 24. So in your 6.5 some years of adulthood outside of kind of like your parents raising you, and it sounds like you had a great family and a great upbringing. What's one thing that your perspective has changed, your values have changed in terms of, I used to think this way because of how I was raised, and nothing, there's a lot of things that I was raised, me and my parents both agree. It's just like, that's weird. We don't think that way anymore. But are there other things that you have, as who are the Hannah that as an adult is now your own person? Maybe it's this Jesus still loves you. Because, hey, when I was taught, don't have sex before marriage. Yeah. That's something I had to really grasp when I first did it.
Yeah.
Is there anything else other than
that's like
sex?
probably the biggest like thing is my faith has like really changed drastically of how I view my faith. I grew up going to church, and honestly had a really like spiritual connection like young, but kind of missed the mark of like, oh my gosh, if I do something bad or somebody else does, they're going to hell. No, that's not true. But I would just be like, oh God, that's like my good girl thing. Like I just wanted to like.
People saying you're going to hell?
No, but like, like that's like the Southern Baptist. Sometimes that's how it is. You feel like, so you're scared. And
fire and brimstone, baby.
That's right.
Well, that's the same. I mean, like I was Catholic. It's same.
Yeah,
it's the
same type of thing.
So
and
Catholic guilt's a real thing.
But like, I was like, no, my faith is real. Like, I want to make sure like people know that. And it's like, okay, well then I'm missing the relationship of what faith is supposed to be. And honestly, when I went through my depression, I didn't care about anything. Like I didn't really care about my relationships that much. I could fake it. So my faith kind of like in any type of way kind of started to pull back. So it wasn't that like, I just didn't like really, I still like believed in the Lord, like everything. I just didn't really like do much. It wasn't until I like had that like moment that my relationship with the Lord like went like, I always say like I was on fire for the Lord to like learn more and to have a relationship. And that's kind of another, like my relationship was not like based in that. And that wasn't like something we ever talked about as much. And like, it was huge for me now. And I did change. I was the one that changed. But I started to realize what it's like to really have a relationship with the Lord and like what it actually says biblically and not like what we've made all these rules and like, the Bible, God is love. And so you love on humans no matter like what what they do, who they are, you love them. Because why, if like this is so important to me, why would I ever try or mean to come off judgmental or be judgmental about somebody when it's like, we're all the same. We all have our things. And like Jesus still loves us. Who did Jesus hang out with in the Bible? Like the people who were in leprosy and prostitutes. Like that's who he was with, and those were his homies. So like, why can't I just not be out there living my life? I don't just have to stay in my freaking white pent up church to be a good girl. Like, no, like I want to be with people. I want to know what their struggles are and be there for them and live life and like have a new perspective of how you serve people. Cause all we're supposed to do is love and serve people. And that means like the people that you're around and just like
bring us to church.
Yeah,
I love it.
I don't know. Like it just really has changed in like, I don't know. I think for me, a lot of my season was hard because I was like, oh my God, what are they going to say if they see me like making out with this dude? Who cares? Because I know my heart. I know where it is and it's good.
Who's they?
People back home.
Okay.
This season when you're making out with all those guys?
You
weren't thinking about that.
Oh, I do. I do think about it. I'm like, oh God. Oh, pin back, button it back up. Ooh, Mama's not going to like that one.
How has it been so far in terms of, not that you should care, and I'm glad that you, you want to be respectful of your peers and certainly from a family standpoint, but I'm glad that you have, I'm glad that you have changed your perspective on how much you think you should worry about if whether other people think you're going to burn in hell or you're a bad person. But how has that been?
Because I'm so confident in my relationship where I stand in the Lord, like with the Lord, that like I know that regardless if I have or haven't done anything bad, like it's erased, it's forgiven. Like we all make mistakes. I'm not even saying I made a mistake, but if I did, hey, like Jesus loves me.
There you go.
So
have you ever had sex for right after you're like, I don't know, I'm not entirely sure. Like maybe I hope he still loves me, but I might have pushed his love a little bit.
I'm like,
you don't have to answer that. I had to ask.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So yes.
Sick.
I think that's called being human. I bet Jesus definitely had a moment where he's like, boy, I don't know.
He did have a moment.
If I'm worthy of being God.
What?
You know?
He did have a moment.
He was also human.
One time he was tempted was by a woman.
There you go.
Yeah.
And by the devil.
And but by a woman like
Rochelle knows a lot.
Seducing.
Yeah.
I don't remember where that was, but it's somewhere in there.
I mean, what I kind of assumed of you, a little bit what I watch, you haven't disappointed in getting to know you. You again, I've in the few interviews I've given when people ask my opinion, I say that you are incapable of being inauthentic, which I find to be great. Just kind of
try, it's really bad.
And I think that's awesome. And again, like I think it's a real teachable moment. We have different but similar upbringings, and just a lot about what we talked about is to as we get older, we get more comfortable with ourselves and not trying to be the people we're not supposed to be, and judgment and fear of disappointing people, or it's really people or your peers can really affect you. And then once you get more confident in yourself, it's all
it's like, and I would write on my arm sometimes, like, and I'd write no fear, Hannah, because like no fear in anything, like, because every like judgment or criticism or feeling not enough, that's all fear based. And so like, if I know where my heart is, then there's no fear in that. And so I would just like write it on my arm sometimes.
I have a question. You're so vulnerable on the show, and we've seen you cry a few times, and like you're just, do you ever, I guess in my life sometimes when I have like a breakdown or I have a panic attack, there is a minute of me kind of beating myself up about it, which I have learned to get over and talk myself out of. Did you have any of those moments while you were doing the show where you're kind of like mad at yourself for the way that you reacted or anything like that? Or are you feeling pretty steady?
Honestly, no, because there was a time where like I would be like, I don't cry. And legitimately, I didn't cry. I really leaned into my emotions in this because like, this is my story. This is me to figure out my emotions. And like, I could honestly like go from like shooting the bull to talking about like something that was serious and like go back to that moment. And I can really like lean in, and it's not fake. It's anything. It's just like feel that and like for so long, when you play an act, you can't do that. And like, I'm so proud that I can like tap into my emotions. And I talked to like some of the people that we work with, and I'm just like, I know I can be sometimes like so erratic, but it's like it's only been a few years since I've actually like, I don't know, displayed my emotions. So I'm just like displaying them all. I'll be like, that was a little much. Yeah.
I think it's great.
I'm like, beautiful.
Yeah. I'd be like, I don't know why I just freaked out about that. But I did. So sorry.
I would be willing to bet that as you live your life, you'll become even more free and less kind of restricted about who you are. And like after this experience in 3 years, you won't even think about, because you're a good person. I mean, I don't know you that well, but you seem like you have a good heart.
I do.
Right?
I'm pretty sure.
I mean,
know.
Again, but you are inherently a good person. Your faith and we all live life and try to figure out what's right or wrong or in the confines. I mean, I was talking about this with Shug yesterday. Like, I grew up very religious. There have been different times where my faith has been stronger than others. My desire to be a good person has never changed, regardless if there have been times where I questioned my faith, and other times I felt stronger. Yep. But you don't have to have a strong faith, and you can struggle with your faith, is what I'm saying, and still be a good person
and not like have a religious background.
You can,
and it's like me, like for a long time I didn't. I was like, no. Like when I was younger, and it's like, no, that is so far from the truth. Like, we all have different backgrounds and different, like, who's to say that I would feel the way I did if I didn't grow up where I did and have all the experience that I did and have this like truly like this encounter with the Lord that I had. Like, people not everybody experiences that. And like, okay, you're still an amazing person. And I want to be around amazing people, regardless of what you look like, what you believe, how you act. If you're a good people, you're my people. That's how I feel.
And you can make mistakes and you can screw up and you can, got a little pissed off, sin, and then we can figure it out and do some more of it and live our life.
I'm pretty sure before the show.
I mean,
before the show, this is no joke, I didn't cuss.
Before you were on The Bachelor?
Really? What was your worst cuss word before
Fuck, shit,
show?
balls.
Okay, all right.
No, I said like freak and fridge and shiz.
Shiz.
Can we all just, each of us swear just for, fuck.
Ass.
Titty? That's not a swear word.
No.
Sweater.
Shit.
There we go. That was Hannah again.
I'll do bitch.
Yeah.
There you go. Michelle?
Oh.
We took them.
I can't think of any good one.
Come on.
How about dickweed?
Yeah.
Dickweed.
Jesus still loves all of us.
All of us.
All of us.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure they used the bleeper on me more than any other person.
Oh, that with Luke was so funny. You're like, I can't stop saying it.
I'm sorry, I don't usually say this word.
That was great. Yeah, thinking out loud.
Like, what else would you do in that moment? Okay.
Yeah. What would you do, man?
That's why you were the Bachelor. That's why they picked you as the Bachelorette. I think they made a great. When people picked you, I was like, "This is." I had dinner with my friend Peter, who I won't say his last, but I was just like, I don't know who you're picking, but you should pick Hannah. And he just kind of like nods at the time. He's like, I think you'll be happy. And I was like, I don't know much about the show, but like, she's the most interesting person on the show of like your top 4. And you haven't disappointed because, again, you think out loud, like you are inherently a good person. And then as this good person is being willing to be vulnerable with like sharing with America, her inner monologue, it's great TV and I'm really enjoying it.
Thank you. And I am that way the whole time. Like, I want this to be my story. And so if it's going to be my story, then I have to be vulnerable enough to share that, because I don't want to look back at this and watch it, and I haven't watched it and be like, I don't recognize that person. I recognize that person. Every word that comes out of my mouth is something that I would say. And I actually talked to one of my friends that like has known me forever, and she's like, it's so cool because the Hannah before all this, I'm watching on TV. Like, that is her. Like, that's you. And I'm so proud of that. And that's what I want. I want my story, not Hannah B. I want Hannah Brown's story.
There we go.
So,
well, let's take some fan questions if you're up for it.
yeah, let's do it.
You need to go to the restroom?
Nope.
Okay.
You know, I love that mantra that you were like saying to yourself before the first night, where you're like, I forget what you said, but you're like, you're worth, help me to feel worthy, help
smart.
Yeah,
Where
did you like learn to talk?
Well,
to
I was
like
praying, so I was just like, I didn't know
Out loud.
Yeah, I always pray.
Mike.
I do. Yeah, I didn't know they had captured that. I love that they captured that, but like, I think it's a lot. It's hard for a lot of us to like feel that way with what we see like out there. And it's like, you should be like this, you should be this, but like, we are enough, we are worthy. I am intelligent, regardless of whoever wants to say something about that, because I just am a dweebo sometimes, whatever. I'm still intelligent. Like, I know that. And so I can't let anybody else make me feel inferior. So,
I just love you so much. I just think that you are a true example to everyone out there. And as somebody who knows depression well or knows self-worth well, like, we don't get to see enough people on TV that are really authentic to themselves. And I think you're important.
What's one piece of advice you would give your unborn child that you think would serve them well for the rest of their life?
I think what I want to just, you are enough, that you're enough, even like before, like just you as a person, you're enough. And I want to like make sure I reiterate that to my child, like forever and ever. Like, you're enough, like you are worthy, because you were wonderfully made. Like, you as a person are just incredible and unique and special. Don't get a big head about it, but you are, you know, like,
That's
yeah,
fantastic.
I think that would be.
Well, I love how you're enough. You're not. I mean, you can say they're special, they're your kid, but like, you're not necessarily filling their head with like an overflated sense of self. But you are certainly, regardless of your thinking, enough to do whatever it is you believe in or you want to strive for.
Yeah.
That's great.
Beautiful. What's yours, Nick?
What's mine?
Mm-hmm. What's your one piece of advice that you would give your child?
Smart people know how to admit when they don't know things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ask questions.
Oh, that's one thing I can tell you about Chris Harrison.
Oh.
So
Chris Harrison tea, everybody.
Yeah. So when I was on The Bachelor, I had heard, like, if you you never know if you don't ask or whatever. And I had these crappy seats on the way to like one of the places by these people who were so ugly. They didn't speak English, but they were like mocking us, like, and I was in the middle window seat, and they would not get up for me to get in there, and then were just like talking about me, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. Like, we had already had issues with them getting on the plane, so then people saw us sitting by them, they're like, oh my god.
Sounds like our movie experience. Sure.
Yeah, and so then I went to the bathroom, and I saw that the business class had like all these seats open.
This is on Colton season.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was like, wait.
No, on Colton season.
Okay.
So all these business class seats were open, and I was like, there's nobody in here. So I saw a flight but then Chris Harrison was like on the last seat of first class, and I was like, and nobody was behind him. I was like, oh, did you save that seat for me? And there was a flight attendant right there, and goes, oh yeah, you can sit right there. And I was like, what? He goes, yeah, I guess you can. And I was like, wait, I mean, are you sure? Like, can I sit right here? And then I was like, she's like, yeah. And I was like, I looked back and I was like, maybe, I mean, can I sit right here? Just like first seat of business class. And he looked at me and he goes, Hannah, I'm going to give you a piece of advice. When you hear the answer you want the first time, don't ask any more questions. Ask the one question, get the answer, don't ask any more. And I was like, you're right. But I did think it might be a little weird if I'm the only contestant sent by
That's
Chris
a good way to
Harrison.
get a target on your back.
Sure. But I moved.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm getting away from. So I got in the business class seat. It was amazing. Like, a whole row by myself. And the girls were like, what are you doing? I was like, I just asked. Then I did it again. But not with him. We had all middle seats going back from which place were we?
Yeah, it's always terrible. You're like the last one on the plane. It's
like coming from Vietnam back to Denver, and we all had middle seats. So I went up to the flight attendant that was taking our scanning us in, and I go, do you have just any more seats by chance? And he goes, what would you prefer? And I was like, I mean, a window is my preference, but I mean, if you can get an aisle, that's great. He changed it right at the gate, and all the girls were like, where are you going? I was like, sorry, I just asked. I was like, what do you do?
Man, playing with fire and it worked out. Good for you.
I mean, but they couldn't like say anything because they're like, oh man, I should have asked too.
I know.
So I just did.
Ask and ask first.
Yeah.
Because then you get
Because everybody's like, no. Yeah, it worked.
That is awesome.
But I was like, Chris said just ask. Okay, I'm just going to do it. And then don't say anything after that.
Question time with Nick. Let's ask Nick your sexy questions.
Hi. I don't know where you are. Is this you? Can you see me better here or here? I don't really know.
She's in the iPad right there.
Oh, there you are. Hello.
And she's up
working?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to be able to look into her eyes.
She's right there.
She's right there.
I'm Nick. This is Hannah.
Hi.
Hi,
What's your name?
I'm Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
What is your question? How can we help?
So my question is basically about staying friends with people who are in a really different place in life.
Okay.
So I'm 27 and I'm actively dating and have been single for about 4 years. And I've met someone actually recently who I kind of like, but we'll see how that goes. I'm a little bit jaded about dating. I don't get that attached that easily, but all of my friends are in very serious long-term relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And I sometimes like to talk to them about my dating life, but they kind of don't get it. They think that it's really fun and exciting all the time. And they're always asking all these questions. And inevitably, I kind of have to disappoint them when it usually doesn't work out. And I'm okay with this, but like they kind of make me feel bad about it more, where it's like I was okay with it until I kind of got the pity from them after it doesn't work out. So my question is basically about relating to your friends, sort of letting them, should I let them be involved or should I sort of tell them to butt out a little bit or?
Well, I guess that all depends on you. I mean, do you wanna share some before I just go ham on it, or?
Yeah, I have like a few things because.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I feel like your friends should not be making you feel like if you're fine with it, then you should be fine with it. So I would first have a discussion with your friends about like, hey, I want to come to you and I want to talk to you about what's going on in my life, but like I need you to be supportive, give good like counsel. But I don't need any pity. You're just waiting for the one, you know, like you don't need no pity.
Yeah.
But I am in like a similar situation because a lot of my friends are all married. And actually one of my best friend has a baby, is married, has a baby and has one on the way. And so like we're in totally different places in our life. But what's really cool about that for me and like my friendships is that she's really supportive of me and I'm really supportive of her. Like, so I don't want to be where she is in her life right now. And I don't think she really wants to be where I am in my life, but we're so supportive of where we both are. And that's what like you need to have a conversation with your friends of like, I mean, I'm sure you want to like have a serious relationship at one point, but like you've got to like do your thing and they need to be supportive of you making your own decisions for yourself. And you can be supportive of what they're doing too. I think that's really what it comes down to and having communication with your friends. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're trying to be supportive. I think they mean well, but they also sort of like, none of them have been single for a very long time. So it's almost entertaining for them to sort of watch what's going on in my life.
Have you talked to them about it? I think you should have a conversation with them about it, how they make you feel.
Yeah, I've talked to them a little bit about it, but they still kind of like, it's a touchy subject.
I have a question for you. Can you give an example of something they say that bothers you in terms of? So
it would be like, so if I go on say 3 dates with someone and they're asking all these questions, they're so excited, and then, you know, I'm maybe not that excited about it, and then the next time I see them, I'm not seeing this person anymore, and they ask about it and are really excited to be like, oh, how's it going with this person? And you're like, oh, well, you know, went on 3 dates and it's not really planning on seeing each other again. And they're like, you know, oh, sweetie, like you're gonna get there one day. Don't you worry about it. It's like, okay, I wasn't really worried about it until you made me feel like I did something wrong by not being interested in this person, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's not great. Kind of like what Hannah said. I mean, if you are really confident, and as you should be with being single and 27, you're super young. Like enjoy it. Also, you should be. Think of it this way, as I think you said an important part, that your friends do find it exciting, and not to take anything away from what they have in their lives. I'm sure they're happy and they have their kids and their families, but sometimes same can get a little boring. And you have variety in your life, and I'm sure you want to settle down, as a lot of people do, but right now there's a part of your world that they're a little envious of too.
Yeah.
So remember that, when not that they are showing you, but they just want you to be happy. But I think it really comes down to you, is like, I think you really need to, sometimes we project too, because I know, at least for me, if I have an insecurity about something and it's kind of eating me up, even though like I know I shouldn't let my insecurity bother me, like I'm conscious of it, but deep down it does. And then someone will point it out to me and I'll be like, well, fuck, man, God damn it. Like, I didn't think it was bothering you, but now because you said it to me, now it does. So my guess is you may have a little bit of insecurity on your own because all your friends are settled down. And that's kind of how it was for me when I was living in Milwaukee. And, 28, 29, it's like there was a very distinct point in my life where I broke up with my girlfriend of 2.5 years and all my other friends got engaged. And it was like...
I mean, I know I'm younger, but like that in Alabama, that's normal.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah.
So
it's right in that age. Right
you can feel that a little bit. So
engaged and married and
yeah, I think I would just really stress to yourself that you are very happy and confident in your situation, and I would stress to yourself that you are thankful that you are objective and you're not willing to settle, and that you can go on 3 dates with a guy and think he's okay and not be so worried about wasting 3 good dates. You know when to like get out. I think that's a healthy to do. And so really focus on being confident about that. And I would be willing to bet that you will feel less judged by yourself, by your friends, if you're making sure you're never judging yourself, would be my guess. Yeah. But you can tell your friends, be like, hey, listen, I'm actually, and reiterate with your friends, to Hannah's point, listen, I know, I will. Yeah, I'm great.
And I'm not worried.
I got another date.
It was great. I got 3 meals paid for.
Thank you. Yes.
Nice guy.
And
on to the next.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
But
decent, but not forever.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah.
It's like the movie you saw once. It was enjoyable. You don't need to see it again.
Yeah.
It's fine. So let them know. Let yourself know. And I think you will feel less frustration with your friends. And there's nothing wrong with finding more like people, finding other friends, not new friends, but other friends who are also, you're still young. You should meet more new people. There's a lot of people in my life that I didn't meet until I was in my 30s. You're going to change. Your friends should also adapt. You can hold on to old friends. You can still make new friends. So do that. Yeah. Be open to that as well.
That's fair. I have a couple of friends who are single who I can sort of talk to about those kinds of things. Yeah. But yeah, with the friends who are in relationships, there's just still sort of a barrier in the understanding of what's going on.
There's definitely going to be some condescension from them because, they've figured it out and they've settled down and now they just want to take care of you. But also don't forget that they love fucking talking about your dating life because they might be a little bored and they are. So that's not nothing to throw in their face, but just feel better about why they are showing a lot of interest. It's not just pity. It's for their own benefit as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think they're kind of living vicariously,
and that's
a little
fun.
bit.
Yeah, so they're lucky to have you. So you're gonna be just fine.
All right.
Well, hope that was helpful.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
you're gonna be great. You're gonna be great.
All right.
All right. Take
Bye.
care.
Thank you.
That's a tough one when you are single and your friends are just like.
Yeah.
All my friends
it's wild.
are married
couples like to hang out the
babies.
couples too.
And it's one of the first questions.
We should double.
Oh, man.
Fuck yeah.
We have
like
that in
our
life.
relationships have totally changed. Like my relationships with my friends that like are engaged, married, have babies have changed. Because honestly, do I want to hang out with them all the time when they're all coupled up? Not particularly.
Let's just hang out and talk about our kids and go to bed at 11. It's like,
well, I'm good. So,
Nick, do you want to come? No,
not at all. But I think it's just like you stay updated. You don't have to always talk about your kids. You don't talk about, your husband. Like, let's keep our relationship, and that's your own relationship. And when I get to that point, like, I want to share it with you, and like, yeah, let's have barbecues later, but like, I'm not there yet. And that's okay. Like, it's okay. And I think I had to tell myself that too, because it really did. Because I was the one that everybody thought would be first to start the thing. And so then I didn't. And I was like, what?
I mean, yeah, no, I for sure, compared to all my friends, thought I was going to settle down and like, yeah.
And I didn't. And so I had
last
to
of the Mohicans.
Yeah.
Still fighting the good fight. How you doing, Mackenzie?
I'm doing great. How are y'all doing?
Good. Thanks for asking. I'm Nick. This is Hannah.
Hi.
Hi.
How can we help you, Mackenzie?
Well, I'm really behind on your episode, so I'm like trying to catch up. So I emailed in.
Just kidding.
That's fine. We can focus on you.
I emailed in after I watched episode 10 about, insecurities in relationships, and that whole conversation just reminded me about my very first serious relationship with my now ex-boyfriend. We were together for 3 years. We started dating when I was 20. We broke up right before I turned 23. I'm 26 now.
Okay.
And he was very like into Tumblr, because this was 2013 and that was a big thing. And there was like we met through mutual friends. So it was like a running joke with our group of friends that like all he did on Tumblr was like reblog porn and stuff like that. And they would always ask,
porn?
Reblog.
What's that?
It's like reposting.
Oh,
porn.
no, okay.
No, I mean, I'm familiar with blogging and I'm a little familiar with porn, but I'm not familiar with reblogging porn.
It's like sharing something on Facebook.
Okay, fair enough. All
on
right.
Tumblr?
So he was active in the porn community of like...
Not like active. I mean, he just like followed like porn blogs, I guess.
That's pretty active.
Yeah.
That's pretty active.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't on Tumblr at the time, so whenever they would ask me like, "Hey, doesn't that bother you?" I'm like, "Well, I mean, it's like out of sight, out of mind."
So you're not dating him anymore. I'm curious, what's your question, or what are you trying to kind of figure out, if anything, I guess?
I mean, I've moved past that like part in my life, but like for somebody who isn't like as confident, like how do you get past like the insecurities of like this fictional character, essentially?
When you say not as confident, did you feel after finding this out about your ex, it made you feel, it sounds like it made you feel something about yourself or something? Like,
yeah, I spent probably the first year and a half of that relationship very insecure and uncomfortable, because that brought up a lot of issues about my self-confidence.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's fair. I mean, we've talked a little bit about the effects of porn a little bit. We probably should do like maybe a whole episode on it. It's a fascinating world. I mean, listen, there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of conversations, sex positive. We had our friend on who talked about feminist porn because like, listen, but like at the end of the day, like, do people watch porn? Fine. I think when it comes to those types of, that's an intense kind of, I mean, he was into it, right? And I think that I can get why that could make you feel anyone. I mean, if I was dating a girl, like maybe there's a novelty of like, because more guys are into porn. The general thought is, and if I found out a girl I was dating someone, she's like, yeah, no, I watch porn. You're like, oh, that's cool. Like you're.
But what if she put?
But then all of a sudden you're like, no, I blog, and I would be a little.
Or she put it on her Instagram.
Taken back. Yeah. Listen, I think it's a natural feeling to feel what you thought. I think you really have to try not to compare yourself to literal porn stars. That's right.
And I think that you pointing out, hi, it's Shug, you can't see me. But I think that you pointing out that there's like a fantasy element to it. Like he's into like a fantasy sex world. And I bet that had nothing at all to do with you.
Yeah. I don't want to, I guess thanks for saying that, because I don't want to, because it is a fantasy world, and I'm not trying to defend his actions, but it really has nothing to do with you, and it is a slippery slope for, I think, for people, because it's a natural to compare yourself, but because, I mean, I don't even know like the psychology of porn, how it plays a role, but it's strong, and it can be very detrimental to people and relationships. And I'm not knocking it if you want to do it, or I'm not judging or whatever, but people can be addicted. And so it really has nothing to just don't compare yourself to it. I mean, that's the worst thing you can do. And it truly is nothing about you. It's to do with this, especially as if he's blogging about it. It's like, it's way past this visual thing.
I will say something.
My biggest issue with it was like when I like actually saw him like reblog a post, because we were hanging out together.
Yeah.
I like saw him reblog something from like Hottie of the Day or something, and that I was just kind of like, really? While I'm sitting right here, like,
yeah, he's an inconsiderate jerk. I mean, he kind of sucks.
I got something for you.
Hannah's got something for you.
So I was in a relationship that I was already had some insecurities about, and I felt when I found out about like might be looking at that type of stuff, I think because I was already insecure in the relationship,
sure,
that amplified my insecurities.
100%.
And I don't know if that's kind of where you were in your relationship, but I feel like if you are already insecure in your relationship, and then you have that, especially with like, are they like talking to other girls, are they doing this? And then you like physically see them like looking at other girls, and I would be like, what the fuck, dude? Like, it's not like I'm not like, hello, you know? And I would be like, why do you need to like look at that? And I think it was more so of like, it was the issue of like, I felt like, I was being like lied to about it. You obviously like knew about it, but it's like, have communication about it, because then that brings up more insecurities. And I feel like in your next relationships, because you've dealt with that, if you're like the person I'm going to be with, like, I'm going to straight up be like, look, do you have a thing? All right, let me know. Like I want to know everything. Like it doesn't even like, I want to know the nitty gritty, dirty details. So like, I think for that makes me feel more secure, because I want to know that like I know everything, and I don't think like out of sight, out of mind. Like if you know, find out that he has a Tumblr with things, I'd be like, you know, like if that's insecurity,
pause and maybe talk about
that. And I think it's all about communication in a relationship that I've learned through my past of like, if it's bothering you, because I feel like it probably was bothering you before you actually saw him do that, you got to talk about it, because if not, it's just going to fester and make you feel bad about something that has, like you said, zero to do about you. It's something with him, and that's not cool.
Yeah, I think Hannah said it perfectly. I think you did great. I mean, it is all about communication. And again, for the people who are listening, it depends. Whatever you guys are into, you guys just have to get on the same page. You weren't on the same page with this guy. You felt misled. You felt lied to. That brought up a whole nother ball of insecurities, and it made you question yourself, and you shouldn't have. So, kind of to Hannah's point, in the future, this guy is old news. But just be open about like, what are your likes and dislikes. Make him feel comfortable about that you accept them for who they are, and hopefully they do the same thing. And then,
and if you're not okay with it, then hey, you're not okay with it. And there are like, you're just not okay with it, and that's something that you've got to communicate.
Cool.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Good luck.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
You're gonna be great. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, Hannah, thank you so much. You were great.
Thanks
for doing this. I hope you had
a good
fun.
time. Yeah.
You gave great advice.
Thank you.
You are a very mature young person. You're not even that young, but people like to say like mature for your age. It comes out naturally. I think that's why you're doing such a great job on the show.
I'm mature for my age, but also like to be childish, and so I do that.
Well,
but it's a thought. It's a thought of like, I'm gonna be a child right now.
Any big teases you want to hear, for those people tuning in? Why should they tune in? Why should they watch?
I mean, if you're liking what you're seeing now, I love how people are like, oh my God, I'm loving this. This is so great. And I'm like, if you like it now, and I'm not just saying that to like tease it up. I'm like, oh my God, if you think that's something, you have no idea what happens.
Oh,
so like,
exciting.
Well, you've heard it here first.
Yeah. That is like when I'm like, oh my God, you're like that into it right now. Like I thought like the first few episodes would be like,
is there like any
What happens with Tyler C?
Oh my gosh.
Are you a Tyler C person?
Yeah.
She's obsessed.
I'm not. Okay, yeah. I am.
Don't even.
I understand.
He's very cute.
Yeah.
Any specifics you can tease us about? Other than it's great.
Specifics. Let me think.
Is she allowed? Her producers in the
I don't know, like what. There's there's just so much. I'm like, what do I even go to like a specific about? Like, I mean, I think you'll see it like how I said, like you've said, like I am a verbal processor, and I'm in tune with my emotions, and therefore sometimes I always say like choices lead, feelings follow, but like that's really hard for me, and sometimes I like know my feeling, and I make the choice to go with my feeling, and to really like make the choice to feel the feelings and decide where that's going to go. Because in every relationship that I will end, when I end it, it's closed. And so I will have times where it's like I need to figure out my feelings and know them completely to be able to shut the door and not look back. Mm-hmm. And you'll see me process that.
I like that you said that. I think sometimes the leads of the shows get a little bit of flack because we get judged and you get judged for our choices in terms of keeping people around.
I want to explore every single relationship to the end. And so I don't have to question, was that just because of this or that? No, it's because I don't want to be with you.
Well, listen, as a fan, I don't know if you
great person, don't want to be with you.
I don't know if you end up with Luke P, but as a fan, I know there's a ended on a cliffhanger. You can't put the camera on me you don't have to, we don't need a reaction. At some point, Luke S is going to go home, not because of what Luke P said, but you probably just don't have a strong connection with him. I hope as a fan, Luke P sticks around because while I don't love him as a person, he is great TV. But watching it as a viewer, rooting for you to find love, I am totally fine with you vetting it out, even though we have the luxury of seeing Luke when you don't. I think sometimes people watching that forget that about the lead,
a lot of stuff
about
like
when they're watching it. And it's just like, if you do end up keeping Luke P for the next couple episodes, and even if like much further, if people still think the same thing about Luke P, they're going to be people on Twitter being like, oh, how could she do this? It's like, well, because the same reason why you couldn't get over that one fucking dude.
Amen.
And so that happens out there. So I'm glad you brought that up, because for those of you listening, it's no harder or easier.
And I'm so glad that I did that with a lot of different relationships where I'm like, I'm not so sure how I feel about that. Or there's something there. I need to explore it more. And then when you're like, okay, it's done, I can guarantee you it was done. I don't want to have any feeling of like, that could have been my person, or am I missing something, or I was never told, oh, trust me, and I did something because somebody else told me. I had to explore it myself and find it for myself and feel so confident in every decision that I made. And when I make decisions, I'm confident about those.
Well, that's great. Yeah. Well, Hannah, I wish you the best on your journey for love. I hope it ends up in a very happy place for you. I can't wait to watch the rest of your season. I really appreciate you taking the time and getting to know you a little bit better. I hope the people listening feel like they get to know you a little bit better, even than watching on the show. And for those of you who are tuning in just to listen to Hannah, thanks for popping in. It's like the Catholic priest on Easter. Yeah, thanks for coming. But you know what? We're here every Sunday. Yeah. In This World Wednesdays, we talk about a lot of stuff. Check back in if you've enjoyed listening to the Viall Files this week. Also check out Natural Habits, NHOils.com. New customers get 20% off. Wow. Hannah, I got the hookup for you.
Sweet.
Have a great week, guys. See you next time. Bye.